is Paige Knock, and today I'll be talking about the Disney film Fantasia. Fantasia was a film that was created far differently than any other Disney film at the time. The film consists of 8 animated segments, each set to a different piece of classical music. The use of these different elements is the way Walt Disney, conductor Leopold Stockwitz, and Disney Productions could show that classical music is not just a restricted privilege for the few, but made available to everyone. First, I'm going to begin with some background knowledge on the man who made this very film possible, Walt Disney. Walt Disney was born on December 5th, 1901. He grew up on a farm and that everybody had to help tend to, and due to this, he did not attend school until the age of 7. He said that starting school with my younger sister was the most embarrassing thing that could happen to a fellow. In class, Walt often had a hard time paying attention, so he would draw characters or little animals in the corners of his notebooks, and then he'd flip the pages really fast. And the characters or animals seemed to dance or move across the page, and these were considered some early cartoons by Walt Disney. He also drew comics for the school newspaper, and later took lessons in studied art at the Kansas City Institute and later at the Chicago Institute. When America joined the First World War, Walt Disney wanted to join, so he dropped out of school. And at this time, he was only 16 years old and would have been rejected from joining the war. So with the help of his mother Flora, they lied about his age, and he was actually able to join the Red Cross in Europe after World War I. In 1918, Walt was sent to France for 9 months, where he drove supply trucks and ambulances. When Walt returned from the war, instead of going back to school, he decided that he wanted to work as a cartoonist, and later got a job at the Kansas City film ad company. This company eventually went bankrupt and out of business, so Walt Disney decided that he would open up his own studio, and then he called it Laugh-O-Grams. And Laugh-O-Grams were brief cartoons based on simple gags. The company was relatively successful, and so Walt Disney started to fall behind on paying bills, rent, and even failing to pay some of his cartoonists. Disney's cartoons were no match for his ability to run a profitable business. So at this time, Walt Disney decided that he would move to Hollywood, California, and because it was a growing area for film at the time. Where he soon after this, Walt Disney and his brother Roy opened up Walt Disney Studios. So now I'm going to be talking about the background information on the film Fantasia. One of Walt Disney's animators at the studio once showed enthusiasm to do work by William Shakespeare, but was denied when Walt Disney expressed that cartoons have always been short comedies that depend on visual gags, not literary necessities such as plot or character development. At the time of the release of Disney's first film, Snow White, silly symphonies had been created, and silly symphonies were little cartoons accompanied by music. And Walt Disney decided he wanted to create a silly symphony of The Sorcerer's Apprentice. And for this, Walt Disney wanted the best music collaborator he could find. So after Walt Disney attended a concert in Los Angeles in the 1930s, conducted by Leopold Stockwitz, he knew he'd found the man that would best suit this job. Leopold Stockwitz was famous for being the conductor of the Philadelphia Orchestra. And while creating this silly symphony, it ended up costing at least 3 times the normal amount for a silly symphony. So in order to turn a profit, they decided that they'd turn it into a full-length feature film, thus Fantasia was born. While Stockwitz was creating the film, he said the imaginative nature of the project reminded him of Fantasia. He then suggested the name Fantasia be the title of the film, and it stuck. Fantasia was a movie composition in free-form style and improvisatory style. The movie premiered on November 13th, 1940. The film starts with the musicians entering the stage, and then musicologist Deems Taylor entering to do a brief introduction. He states, "What you're going to see are designs, pictures, and stories that are inspired in the minds and imaginations of a group of artists. In other words, these are not going to be interpretations of trained musicians. What you will see on the screen is pictures of various abstract images that might pass through your mind if you sat in a concert hall and listened to music." Then the lighthouse dimmed and the show began. The selections that Disney approved represent some of the most popular compositions of classical music. The opening piece is Bach's Toccata and Fugue in D minor, where the use of color and abstract imagery is used. Then comes the Duca's The Sorcerer's Apprentice, and I'm going to show you a brief clip from that. After that came Tchaikovsky's The Nutcracker Suite, which starts with sugar plum fairies setting the scene, and then these little mushrooms doing a Chinese dance, and here's a brief clip of that. From there we move to Beethoven's Pastoral Symphony, which shows the life of a beautiful Pegasus family. After that is Stravinsky's The Rite of Spring, which shows the story of a gruesome battle between a T-Rex and a Stegosaurus. After that is Punchinelli's The Dance of the Hours, which features a comical ballet performed by ostriches, hippos, elephants, and alligators. And here's a brief clip of that. Then comes Mussorgsky's Night on Bald Mountain, which features a dark winged creature of the night, which is then interrupted by the conclusion of Schubert's Ave Maria. The scene is set to a beautiful sunrise with people walking through the woods holding lanterns. This represents the coming of a new day after the devilish reveal. The pieces of the music that were hand-selected by Disney and his team help build a bridge between film and classical music. Leopold Stockwitz once said, "The beauty and inspiration of music must not be a restricted privilege to the few, but made available to every man, woman, and child." Through the creation of the film Fantasia, Walt Disney and Leopold Stockwitz were able to do just that, make classical music available and fun to everyone. They created a way the general public could listen to classical music without having to get caught up in the whole technical aspect of it all. Thank you for listening to my presentation on Fantasia. Here are my sources. Any questions?